Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Now you can proceed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
So I welcome all the participants here who are present in this 6 days short-term training program being sponsored by All India Council for Technical Education under Equus schemes. The theme of this short-term training program is developing R&D culture in educational institutes through project-based learning, and it was actually conducted in 3 phases. The first phase was conducted in October from 14 to 19 October 2019. Because of COVID-19, it has been conducted in the online mode, and the second phase was conducted in December from 14 to 19 December, and the third phase is being now conducted from March 1 to 6. And we are very grateful to AICT as well as all the participants who are present here and the resource persons too for accepting our invitation and delivering this talk, and to all the participants from different parts of India and abroad for participating in this short-term training program in huge number. In fact, we got about 200 participants in this short-term training program who have registered for this short-term training program, and who have been attending this 6 day short-term training program in almost all the 3 phases. So we are very grateful to you all. And today being the last day of this third phase of short-term training program, we welcome you once again. I, Dr. Himani Goel Sharma from Professor Poornima College of Engineering in Department of Electrical Engineering, welcome you in this short-term training program. So in today's session, our first resource person is Dr. Jagdish Bansal. Sir is an associate professor in South Asian University, New Delhi, India, and sir is going to deliver a talk on ethical practices in research and development. We welcome you here, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
sir. And before I welcome him formally with a small token, I would like to introduce our speaker, sir, here. Dr. Jagdish Bansal, although doesn't need any introduction, he is a very well-renowned person here. He is an associate professor at South Asian University, New Delhi, and is a visiting faculty at Maths and Computer Science, Liverpool, Hope University, UK. And sir has done his PhD in mathematics from IIT Roorkee. And before joining this South Asian University, New Delhi, sir has worked as an assistant professor at ABV, Indian Institute of Information Technology and Management, Gwalior and BITS Pitani. And his prime area of interest is swarm intelligence and nature-inspired optimization techniques. And recently he proposed a fusion social structure-based optimization algorithm and spider monkey optimization, which has been applied to various problems from engineering domain. And sir has published more than 60 research papers in various journals and conferences, and is a series editor of book Algorithm for Intelligent Systems and Studies in Automatic Data-Driven and Industrial Computing, published by Springer. And he is the editor-in-chief of International Journal of Swarm Intelligence, published by Science. And he's also the associate editor of IEEE Access, published by IEEE, and Array, published by Elsevier. And he's a steering committee member and general chair of annual conference series, and general secretary of Soft Computing Research Society. And he has also received gold medal at UG and PG level. So we welcome you here, sir, from Poornima College of Engineering, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
And sir, we would like to felicitate you with a small token of affection from our institute, sir, with a small e-memento because of the COVID pandemic, sir. So kindly accept this e-memento from Poornima College of Engineering, sir. Electrical Department.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This is really good practice that Poornima College has always the novel ideas. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And before you start on the session, sir, I would request all the participants if they can just switch on their camera for a brief, for a snapshot for a group photograph, so that this will be a memory for all of us. So I'll request the participants also to switch on their camera for a brief minute. Participants, kindly switch off your camera. I hope I'm audible, sir.
Yeah, yes, madam, you are audible.
So I'm taking a snapshot, sir. Thank you so much, sir. You may start off the session, sir.
Thank you. Now I'm sharing my screen. Just a moment.
Yes, sir.
Just please confirm.
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Yes.
Visible, sir.
Let me just a second. Just a second. Let me join the one more device. Actually, I'm afraid there is a notice in my society of power failure, so it may be that the power will go. So I will be in a standby with my mobile. Just hold on. Okay. So yeah, I think no, it may not be possible. Sorry. The sound is echoing. No problem. So if suddenly if my power connects, just wait for 1 minute. I will connect with my mobile, right? So
Sure.
if it works.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. This lecture is basically not a scientific or technical lecture. The more I need from the audience that you be more interactive, even in between also, so that the real objective of the lecture can be fulfilled. Here I'm just sharing some of my own experience and some of the experience when I attended others' lecture and learned over the years that what kind of unethical practices people have started in research and development also, and what should be followed. Let me tell you, even if you are very honest in research and development, but sometime unknowingly you or your student can commit a mistake. I know a case when an IIT professor, IIT Roorkee, I was a student at that time in IIT Roorkee. IIT professor was given a notice. His promotion was withdrawn because of a mistake from one of his PhD student. One of his PhD students submitted a research paper, actually 2 research papers in journals which were copied from somebody else's research. It was just reworded, and everything, the results, the concepts, everything was just copied by that student. And actually that student was just new, fresh student. After PG he came, and he was not aware that what can be the consequences of that kind of, and he has not informed the professor, and he just wrote his name and just submitted. And his professor even was not knowing that it is copied, and he used those papers after publication. He used those papers for the promotion, and somehow after a few years it caught, and everybody is punished. Sometimes unknowingly also we commit mistakes. There was one incident with me when I was in Gwalior, ABB Triple ITM Gwalior. One of the students from Punjab, I'll not take the name and the university, he came to me. His supervisor told me that can you please guide him for 1 month. So he came from Gwalior for 1 month to work with me.
and he started PhD actually. So for the initial training, he came at me. After 1 month, when he returned, I don't know what kind of training I gave to him, but when he returned, he published 12 research papers. And at that time, in fact, 12 was my total research papers. After 5-6 years of research, I had only 12, around 11, 12 research papers at that time. And he published just in 1 month, 12 research papers. And all the research papers just copied from others. And he wrote my name also in all the research papers. And he published with that 1,000 journal. 1,000 journal, I call them, who charge some money and they publish anything, any garbage, right? So they published that. So he published all the 12 research papers. One of the author whose paper he has copied called me one time that you copied my research paper. You published this research paper, which is a copy of my own research. Then I said that no. How I can copy your research? I never wrote this kind of paper. Then he showed that no, it is here. He shared me the link, and then I realized that he has published 12 research paper. I launched a complaint immediately. Actually, somehow I came to know about this incident. Immediately I launched a complaint in the cyber cell in my institute. I launched a formal complaint in his university. I launched a formal complaint, and at that time, all the papers were retracted. So this retraction is now increasing these days because of these kind of unethical practices. So sometimes it is good to have the training in ethical practices for the research and development in our daily life. Not only in our daily life, we need the ethics to be followed in our research and development in our office also, right? So here I'm going to share some of areas where we should follow the ethical practices. Just 1 minute for my university. I'm in South Asian University. It's a relatively less known university. It is established by 8 member nations of the SAARC, including Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. So with 50% partnership by the government of India, it has started in 2010. Right now we are at the Akbar Bhavan, Chanakyapuri, and our permanent campus is upcoming in Maidangadi, which is in South Delhi, heart of the Delhi. And we have all the PG and PhD courses only. We don't have any UG course right now. I'm in the mathematics department or the faculty of mathematics and computer science. So we have the faculty system where I'm in faculty of mathematics and computer science, and other we have computer science department, biotechnology department, and other arts related departments. Okay, so we do the research, we do the publication. So let me start just with the word of what is publication. Very short, in short, formally, it is the dissemination of your findings to the scientific community. It is the sharing of your knowledge or your findings or your research findings with the scientific community, with other community. Actually, what I always say, that research is not finished. This is my favorite statement. I always say that research is not finished until it is published. So the publication is one of the most significant part in the research. There was a mathematician called Gauss. So Gauss could not publish much of his research. Similarly, I think everybody is aware of, you are the engineers who may not be aware of the story of the Gauss, but the Ramanujan also keep on writing the things in his diary, and he was not interested in the proofs. He was just writing the results, and that is why you see that the world could not benefited from his research, from his findings very quickly. But if he just imagine, if he would have written proper research paper, whatever he has published the research right now, even after hundred years, people are working on his theorems. Just that short span of time, whatever he has worked, people are working and publishing research papers. People are doing, just on one statement, the people are doing PhDs, right? So just imagine the situation when if he would have published that research properly in these in the research journals, then the entire world would have benefited it, because the research journals reaches to the scientific community. What we read for our area. Suppose I want to do the research in swarm intelligence. I'm a student of swarm intelligence. So suppose I want to study the swarm intelligence, then what I will do? What I do actually, I have subscribed I have subscribed many research journals in my area. So whenever they publish, whenever any new research published in those journals, it comes to my email and I refer that, right? So, you know, being a researcher in the field, I refer research journals. So if I want to share my own research also, then I have to publish in the research journal. So the research publication is the dissemination of your findings to the scientific community. The objective is not, remember, this is very important, the objective is not for the general public, right? So scientific research papers are very audience specific. Scientific publications are always subject to peer reviews. They are not just like magazine articles that whenever you write and your paper will be published. No, if your paper is getting published without any comments, without any review, then people will not believe on your research paper, because it has not first checked by others. It has not been tested by your peers or other researchers. And that is why, you know, always it is mentioned that publication in peer-reviewed journals. Peer-reviewed journals means it is reviewed by the people who are into your research area, who are your peers, right? So peer-reviewed journals are the journals which can be believed for the hardware implementation, means, you know, for the implementation of the research. Research theory development is one thing and the implementation is another thing. So the implementation people, you know, the big industry or the industrialist people will invest their money only on those research which are published in properly peer-reviewed journals, because the research findings may be wrong also if they are not tested properly, right? So the chances of implementation of your research into the reality will be very less if you are publishing your research in non-peer-reviewed journals, right? So publishing in peer-reviewed journal is the only valid publication. So I always call that if you are doing a publication, do it a valid publication, and the valid publication means a peer-reviewed journal. No matter, I'm dead against of this indexing business, you know, Scopus, SCI indexing, all these things are, you know, when the internet was not so popular before 90s, internet was not so popular, everything was not digitalized. At that time, this indexing was important. At that time, yes, indexing was very important, because I used to go, means I was not doing research at that time, but people used to go to the libraries at that time, and then they see that, okay, I need to refer some journals of my area. So which journals of my area? Hundreds, thousands of the journals are there. So which journals I should refer in my area? Yes, well indexed means the journals which are properly published, right? Which are indexed in certain reputed agency. At that time, people used to refer those indexing journals. But right now, what happens that everything is online. By the way, whether it is indexed or not indexed, you are actually Googling all your research papers. You will Google it, and in the Google, whether it is indexed or not indexed, the results will appear. Right? Now it is our moral responsibility that we do not publish garbage, right? So garbage, if we are publishing garbage, so I call that I-waste, right? It is called I-waste. If you are just publishing garbage with no peer-reviewed research, then it is a garbage I-waste, right? So eye waste should be avoided. If the eye waste is not there, then whatever the research comes out from the Google search may help you, right? So indexing nowadays is not that important. What the important is, I want to share one important thing is, these days in publication, the reputation of your research is judged by the citations, where it is cited. Number of citations also not. If my citations are too many, doesn't mean that I'm a big researcher, right? Where it is published, where it is cited. Where is your publication cited? Who is citing your publication? Who is citing your research? Whether, suppose I'm in swarm intelligence, I'm a student of swarm intelligence, so I'm in swarm intelligence, and if the originators, the big researchers of the swarm intelligence, for example, the particle swarm optimization originator is James Kennedy and Russell Everhart. So if he is citing my research paper, Marco Dorigo, the ant colony optimization, if he's citing my research, the Caraboga, the artificial bee colony, if he's citing my research, then my research is a good research. And if it is not, if it is cited by only by my students are just bound to cite my research, or my colleagues or my friends, then my research has a doubt, right? So the reputation of the research, in my opinion, nowadays should be based on the citation, where it is cited, who is citing, who is the site, who is the person who is citing your research, is the basis over which your paper should be judged, not just based on the journal's indexing or the impact factor. I know these days, data analysis, a lot of data analysis techniques and the tools are available. You can do very simple data analysis and can find that there are journals which are doing all type of unethical practices to increase the citations. There are agencies, Scopus agency are just a week before, I was in discussion with the Springer editor, and he told me that there are few journals recently, they unindexed. Scopus has removed the indexing of those journals. Earlier they were indexed, and now they removed that indexing because of high self-citation. Self-citation means journal editor is asking the authors to cite their own research journals papers, own journal papers, to increase the citations. And the authors are just bounded. They think that, okay, if I will cite this research paper in my paper, then the editor will accept, otherwise he will reject, right? So author will, they are just compelled to cite these papers from the same journal. And but you just see that agencies are not just blind, they are looking at all these things. Sometimes agencies also or the publisher also blacklist the authors also if they are doing the wrong practices. So I just want to give you an example, two examples actually, this and in one in next slide, and to share what kind of ethical situations comes to our case. The first case I want to share, that suppose you have developed a methodology, suppose some algorithm, some method, or some vaccine, suppose the co-vaccine you have developed, and you have done very comprehensive experiment with 100 test cases, 100 tests you have done on that co-vaccine. 99 of those test cases went very well as per your theory, as per your expectations, right? So out of 100 times, 99 times you were very successful. But one case did not. One case was behaving weirdly. Just. So one case was behaving weirdly. So now the ethics in the research says, would you report that one case or not? Important thing is, the question is, would you report that one case or not? your theory says that it should always work. It should always work, and 100 times you test it, and it was working 99 times. So 99 are the supporting instances for your theory, but one case is the one case which is not supporting your theory. Would you report that one case? Anybody can tell me? Anybody can just unmute and tell me whether the researcher should report that one case or not? Because if he will report, problem is, if he will report that one case, the theory will not be justified, and if he will not, then of course the research will be wrong research. So can anybody just unmute and tell me what do you see?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, who is speaking?
I am Dr. Shikha Agarwal from RTPV Bhopal.
Hello, madam. Hello.
Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah. According to me, we should report this thing also in our paper, because I think we should not cheat others. We
Yes,
should
you're right.
be
So it should
very
be
honest in our work, and we should show the thing rightly, so that when other researchers follow that, they will also come to know and they may suggest why this case is not validated, and they can also suggest us what improvement we can do.
Yes, you're right, Dr. Shikha, you are right. That this one test case should be reported, but unfortunately, then what will happen? Your research will not be, your theory will not be validated, because your theory says that it should work always, but it is not working. So for that, actually, of course, you need to work again on your theory, right? So the research is not complete. In this case, your research is not complete. You should not publish. Actually, this research should not be published, because the theory says that it should work 100% times, and the practical says that it is working only 99 times. So you should revisit your theory, and then you should redevelop your theory accordingly. Or you mention in your theory that it sometime 99% with 99.99 probability this works, or some other kind of solutions you should find out. But you must consider that one case where it is failing, right? So yes, ethically we must mention it. Otherwise, it can create, the big problem to the community, to the humanity. Because just imagine a case, just imagine a situation, if you are developing some theory for the medical science, and in medical science you have developed a theory and you have not mentioned that particular one case out of 101. Just imagine if you are developing a vaccine and entire world is taking that vaccine, how many people can get infected, can be in the problem. So this is not only the ethical practices. If your research is not properly tested, validated, and reported, it can create you can kill so many people also. And this is not only in medical science, this is everywhere. I was developing some algorithm for the drone swarm. Group of drones are flying together. So I was doing experiment. I need 100% collision avoidance, and every time thousands of the experiments I did, and it was zero collision. Only then I should report. I should implement it to hardware, because if there is a collision among the drones in the air, then they can fall and they can hit somebody on the ground. So everywhere the danger is there. So the research should always be properly validated, should always be properly tested and reported. Even if it is out of 1,000 cases, one time it is not successful, it is colliding, then I should report it, that okay, if I have this, I can't find better algorithm than this, but you just keep this case in mind and fly all these drone swarm only on non-populated area. On populated area, this solution is not valid, because if they collide out of 1,000 cases, if one time they collide, even if they will fall, they will not kill somebody, right? So you fly this drone swarm on the not populated area, or for some other purpose. For example, for war purpose you use it, but not for the assistance purpose. In the disaster case, or in those cases, the solution is not working. So I should change my theory accordingly. If I'm not able to resolve that problem, then I should mention it, and I should say that, okay, I cannot find the better algorithm, but this solution is useful for this case. You can use it, because in war case, if they will fall, there is no loss. Combat drones. Okay, so I'm just coming back. And another case I want to share with you is this. Suppose there is a researcher, suppose you are an acknowledged researcher, leading expert in your field, a lot of research you have done, and you have more than 15 years experience. And after 15 years, the world has recognized your research. You are very famous, respected by the colleagues, by the researchers, you know. So you are nominated for the Nobel Prize for your research. Whatever the research you have done, the great work that you have done 15 years before, based on that, you are nominated for your Nobel Prize. And the next day you are getting, just next day you are about to get the Nobel Prize. You will be given the Nobel Prize. And just one day before, somehow you realized that that particular theory, you did some experiment and you find out that that particular theory was wrong. My 15 years back, my theory was wrong. There was some problem with that theory, and that theory was not correct, which made me famous. Now what? What you will do? Whether you will accept that Nobel Prize and will just forget that theory, or you will report that problem, that my theory was wrong. I will not accept the Nobel Prize. You know, the ethical problems are everywhere. This is so difficult to deny the Nobel Prize and to say that my theory was wrong. I found this problem, right? So, you know, ethically, yes, he should not accept the Nobel Prize based on that theory, and he should say that, no, my theory was wrong. I'm going to publish the another work on that theory, which is showing that my theory is not correct, right? So it should be, ideally it should be. Now, recent article in Nature, actually there was one paper published where the Elsevier has published this one research paper. I took the snapshot of this research paper, and you can see here the rise of the retractions after having this internet era. Because of this internet era, the number of retractions are increasing like anything. Because, you know, earlier, when even if you want to do some plagiarism, some copy paste, you need to go to the library, you need to open the journal, you need to read that, you need to copy that. A lot of work is required for the copy and paste also, for plagiarism also. But nowadays, what is happening? Just download the paper, copy, paste, right? Copy, paste. And sometimes there are many softwares are also available which are rewording the text also, you know, from direct to indirect, active, passive, you know, so that the English is also changing. There are many softwares. So the same theory people are publishing again and again, just because of, you know, cheap kind of research. People are doing that, and this is particularly increased after, you can see here, from after 2005, you must have observed the increase of the era of internet. I think at least in India, the internet was so popular after around 2002 or 2000, around 2000. So you can see the exponential increase of the retractions after 2005 or 2000, around 2000, exponential increase. Earlier it was increased, but it was almost linear, right? But after that, it was just exponential because of this internet. Internet made all the researchers very comfortable in referring the research, but simultaneously it had created a lot of problem also for the dishonest, because of the dishonest researchers. Whenever, a new student, PhD student join with me, so always a new PhD student is very enthusiastic for the research. So whenever I give him the topic that, okay, you read the research papers, you read the books on this topic, then the same night he download thousands of the research papers. Always it happens. I am experienced. In fact, I also did the same thing. So when he download thousands of the research papers, out of those thousands of the research papers, 99 or 95% papers are just junk, are just eye waste, because those research papers are freely available. First of all, these open access journals with not proper reviewed paper journals. There are hundreds of journals even published from India also, from India, China, US, UK, from everywhere, from all well-reputed countries also. These pediatric journals are publishing. So they are publishing research papers, just taking some money, and they are publishing anything, and they are freely available, and they comes on top in the search also. In search also they come on top, and at that time, usually the research students download those research papers, and they waste their very significant time in reading that eye waste. So what I particularly think, that this is very, very important, that the eye waste should not be created, because it is killing somebody's time. It is also creating. So retractions there are certain percentage of regions for the retractions, that's because of the self-plagiarism, misconduct. This is very important. So 11, 17 and 16, 44, around 44% times the retractions is due to misconduct. And this is just because with one publisher. This is just with one publisher, let me tell you. Honest error, it's okay. Means 28% times honest error, it's okay, no problem. The author has done the mistake, reviewer has done the mistake, it's okay. And there are certain other regions also when people could not, simultaneously two researchers are working. I'm working here and one is working in France, and we are not knowing each other, and the same kind of research we have published simultaneously. These kind of cases are also there. So 11% and 17%, these kind of errors are also there. But the most dangerous situation is this: 41 or how much? 44%. So 44% times authors are doing this. Just imagine, this is one with very reputed publisher elsewhere. Just imagine with those predatory journals, what they are publishing. I think they are publishing 99% garbage. And therefore, the ethical practices are very much required. What I want to say, that ethical duties lies with all, with editors, with reviewers, with authors. Not only authors should be blamed for the unethical practices. Actually, it should lie with all. Editors, they should be fair for all the authors. There should not be any biasness. Okay, I'm an editor and Professor Himani is my colleague, so I will consider her research paper and will reject Professor Sikha's paper because Professor Sikha is not my colleague. I do not know Professor Sikha, so I will reject. It should not be. Editors should be fair, right? There should not be any biasness for the editor. Vigilance is very important for the editor. Whenever a research paper is submitted to the journal for the editor, then it should not be just assigned to the reviewers without looking at it. Sometimes I have failed this. A lot of papers are coming in one day. 10 research papers, 20 research papers are coming. I cannot see the 10 or 20 research papers, right? I cannot download and I cannot read the abstract. I have other duties. I have to take my class also, and in that case, editors should assign associate editors, executive editors, and other assistant editors. They should see the research papers before assigning to the reviewers, but they should not the paper should not be assigned without referring first by the editors. And of course, engagement on ethical issues, editors should always keep on checking what kind of unethical practices the authors, reviewers, or other editors are doing these days. So he should be vigilant. He should be vigilant on the current situation. You know, I'm the editor with the Springer, with all good publishers. I'm the editor. With 4 publishers, I'm the editor right now. So, you know, all the publisher time to time keep on sending the emails to me. They always keep me updating that Dr. Bansal, these are the few cases which are coming. So be aware of these kind of cases. Authors are doing these kind of, reviewers are doing these kind of unethical practices. Other editors are doing these kind of unethical practices. So just to inform you, right? So we need to be engaged with all these kind of ethical issues and to be vigilant. Now another duty lies with the reviewer. Reviewers should also, you know, honesty is also expected from the reviewers. Conflict of interest. If I know, if a research paper comes from the Professor Himani is the author, and this paper comes to me for the review, and I'm also working in Poornima College, or Professor Himani is working in, suppose, South Asian University. She's my colleague in the same university, and somehow because of some mistake with the editor, because of some overlooking by the editors, he assigned this research paper to me, being the colleague of Dr. Himani. And in that case, I must decline that review and must mention that I have a conflict of interest. She's my colleague. I cannot review her paper. Right? So disclose the conflict of interest whenever it is there. Confidentiality should be maintained. You know, many reviewers say that, okay, I got your research paper, you know, some colleague or something. So that confidentiality should always be maintained. Promptness, the very important, which actually I'm not these days following. In fact, I'm also not following promptness. That, you know, all the journals has certain timelines. 15 days, 1 month, 2 months, maximum 2 months are given to the reviewer by the journals. So you should be prompt in that. If the paper is submitted to you for the review, you should either accept or decline, but you should not leave it like anything, because it's our moral duty also. If we are researcher in the field and somebody has assigned some paper to you, some editor has assigned this to you for, to review, then it should be responded, right? So promptly we should respond whether we will review this or will not review this. Authors, the most important responsibility to avoid the internet waste. I call it internet waste. I-waste means internet waste. To avoid that internet waste, the most important duties lies with the authors. First of all, they should publish only when there is an original research. Please, I always say that till the moon, earth and the sun will be in this galaxy, your research paper will be there. It's an internet era. It will never be removed. It is in the cloud. People are just increasing space like anything. Always new and new satellites are, you know, launched. So cloud space is just increasing like anything. Your paper will not be removed. After 50 years, you know, your grandchildren will be there. They may be the researcher. They may refer internet and see your research. If it is not original, if it is copied, if it is plagiarized, if it is, you know, dishonest research. Just imagine you are an old man, 80 years old man, and your grandchildren are there, and they just took the printout of your research and say that, Dadaji, you did this. You are not an honest researcher. Just imagine this situation. So publish only the original research, just for your sake. even for your sake, just forget about others. For your sake also, you should publish only the original research, not the fake research. Avoid the multiple publication. Another thing is, I will discuss this in detail here. Let me just discuss detail here. Problems of authorship. Of course, these points I'm discussing one by one in these slides. So disputes, question of interpretation, whether contributions are substantial. Actually, what happens? Authorship. Suppose 4 people are working in a lab. They are working for something, right? Then who will be the first author? Who will be the last author? Who will be the second or third author or fourth author, right? So all these questions comes, and there may be a dispute on this, and therefore it is suggested that discuss the authorship when research is planned. That okay, we all will be the author in this case. Just yesterday I shared one of my old research and its related material with one of my old friend, and he wants to do that research. So he wrote me in detail that I understand you have shared the research, but I may not be able to understand it properly, right? So we have arranged the sessions of explaining that code and all the things, and then he decided that okay, we all 4 will be the author, myself, my student, he and his student. So we 4 will be the author. So we have planned it in advance that we all 4 will be the author. So decide who will be the authors of this. Misconduct. Authorship is unethical. Stick to facts, avoid being emotional. If you have worked for that research, only you give the authorship to that person. If not, don't give it. Just being the director of or principal of a research institute is not the reason to include his or her name for the research paper. Suppose I am into artificial intelligence related research and I become the director of some institute, right? And there is a researcher in the same area, and I always pressurize him to put my name in his research papers. Because I'm a director, I can create problem to him. So avoid being emotional towards the director, principal, or your supervisor. Even your supervisor, if your supervisor is not contributing significantly for your research, it is not necessary to include his or her name. In India, we actually respect the teachers, and that is why sometimes we don't blame our supervisors. We think that it is the right of the supervisor to have the name in all the research papers of the PhD student. But no, it is not a right. Even it is not morally, it is not good in moral sense also, that without significant contribution to the student's paper, you are including your name, right? So avoid that being emotional about anybody's when giving the authorship. What I think that 2 types of problems people feel in the authorship. Gift authorship, that I just mentioned, that okay, he's my friend, one of my friend, I don't take the name, but there is one of my friend is there who could not get promotion because of the less publications, right? The minimum publications. So what we decided in the department that okay, we'll help this person, and in the next research paper we will include his name. It is actually the unethical. In one sense, it is good that we are helping somebody, but this is not a help for the society. For one person it is good, but it is not a help for society. Another case is that okay, we are 4 people working in my university. Suppose we are the 4 people who are working in artificial intelligence related research, and everybody has 4 students. 16 students are working, 4 people total. 20 people are working in artificial intelligence in my university. So 20, we all have decided that whenever we will write our research, with our students or with ourselves, we will keep including names of other professors, right? So one name and three other names I'm including. So I'm including three other names. It doesn't mean my name is removed. My name is there and other three are removed, three are included, and he is including my name. So just the publications will increase. And you know, these kind of practices you can see in most of the labs. In most of the labs, people are doing this practices, but it is just increasing the publication. It is not helping the society. And ultimate objective is not the increase of the publications, number of publications. You know, of course, you need to maintain the minimum publications for having promotions. But after a certain threshold, the number of publication has no meaning at all. No meaning at all. Really, believe me, it has no meaning at all. Another, this hierarchy, I already told you that, you know, just to favor director, HOD, dean, just gift the authorship. So it's not good. It's unethical. Ghost authorship. Sometimes what happens that, suppose I'm not a good researcher, I cannot write, but somehow I got the job in a university where the research is necessary, and Professor Himani is a good researcher. So I will ask Professor Himani that you write a research paper for me. I will pay something to you for this. I will pay money for this. And Professor Himani is not writing her name at all, and she is giving this research paper. She's publishing this research paper in my name. This is called the ghost authorship, and it is also very popular these days. Let me tell you, yes, it is popular. I got a call from Lucknow. Just few days before, I got a call from Lucknow, and the call said that, okay, we are a publishing agency and we publish research papers. So if you want to publish research paper, we will write it for you. I was shocked to listen that phone call. Maybe you may also have received those kind of calls. So these kind of ghost authorships are also these days popular. So authorship should be credited only based on the substantial contribution, drafting the article or revising it critically, and final approval after checking all the things. Only then the authorship should be credited. Means all these things are compulsory, only then the authorship should be given. If you are not doing any research, you are just checking the English, you are just checking the drafting of that, that is not the research. Look, for this, don't give the authorship, give the just acknowledgement for that. Authorship doesn't mean the authorship. Do the research, do the experiments, do the analysis of the results. Then only the authorship should be given. Not for just checking the English of the paper.